we're calling the enrollment driver. And this is focusing on academic advising for prospective students. The problem statement here is that students looking for information on whether or not they're a competitive applicant for a particular program at our university or any generic university have to anxiously await for responses from academic advisors who are themselves having to spend precious time parsing resumes, comparing them to course curricula, and averaging grades. And these this information is notoriously siloed across different sources and systems. So again, how can agentic AI help streamline this process? And also, how can we ensure, as a twist for this one, for this demo, how can we ensure that our agents are accessing this data in a secure and auditable, traceable way, right? We talked in the last demo about how we created tools that were very tightly guardrailed, couldn't run amok in our raw tables and source systems. But how do we make it so that, or can we do this in a way that is auditable and traceable so we know exactly what our agents are doing with the data that's being given to it or that it's getting access to? Okay, so with that, we are going to assume the role of a prospective student to Acme University. We've got a pretty straightforward resume, academic profile here for the very consistently named John Johnson. He's got an overall GPA of 3.84, graduating next May. Here's some coursework, some skills, and some other information to add out our resume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop into Claude, and I'm going to say, please use the admissions eligibility assessor to determine if I am a competitive candidate or competitive applicant for your computer engineering program. I have attached my resume as a PDF, and I'm actually going to attach it this time instead of 9 times out of 10 when I say I'm going to attach something to an email and don't, and then in shame, I have to send a follow-up email. So again, the Claude is telling us what tools it's using. In this case, it's using what's called the detail extraction tool. This is a PDF parser that we built. And you can, today in native Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, you can put in an unstructured data like a PDF and it'll parse it for you. But this one is specifically meant to, it's looking for specific data and it's going to repackage that data in a way that the other tools can consume more efficiently. So cool. It then did an eligibility check tool, which was comparing our data that it parsed from the PDF against course requirements that we have in a Postgres table connected to the underlying tools. And it gets back to us again pretty quickly here. Good news, you're eligible. Here's the breakdown. You had a 3.84. The required GPA is 3.5. Here are the required courses. And look, you've got them all. And it's not even our senior year. Look at that. Overall status, eligible for the BS Computer Engineering program. Cool. So again, after just a second there, we got a really quick automated response. And notice down here it says, since you've been found eligible, I can notify an academic advisor of your inquiry so they can follow up with you directly. Would you like me to go ahead with that? And I'll say, yes, please. Be very polite to your agents. And there it goes. So again, this is a really important concept, the human in the loop touch point, where we want to make sure that a highly qualified candidate such as ourselves, the esteemed John Johnson, can get contacted by an actual academic advisor who may, take whatever necessary steps are required, to follow up and encourage our application to the university. And perfect timing, done. An academic advisor has been notified and will follow up with you using the email or phone number from your resume. Good luck. So now we're going to actually shift perspectives a little bit. Instead of being the student, we are going to be in the role of the bespoke academic advisor. And we're going to go back to Salesforce here. Again, we're using cases as a generic queue. And we've got a list view here for advising cases. And boom, there's our advising case for John Johnson. I'm going to hop in here And John Johnson has a cumulative GPA of 3.84, completed all prerequisite courses. Wunderbar. Now, as an academic advisor, I have this in my queue and I can get back to John, that important human in the loop touch point. Finally, I alluded to at the beginning of this demo setup that we wanted to make sure that our interactions with the the agent, sorry, the interactions that our agents have with our data are auditable and traceable. So we have a Postgres table here and called MCP Audit Trail. And if I rerun it now, we should see a couple different entries. Yes, we do. There we go. There's that first entry, ID 73, student detail extraction. That was the PDF parser. And so we know, okay, this is exactly what the PDF parser got out of the PDF and what it spat back out to the agent. And then the tool rules validation is it's the tool that was comparing the student's data against prerequisites. And this is what it gave back to the agent. The required courses, the GPA, the minimum GPA, the actual student's GPA, who is he, all that good stuff. So now, sorry, the reason why this happened is because in those underlying tools, the PDF parser and the tool that looked in the system and compared John's data against the requirements, there was a thread that pushed the information about what was happening to a Postgres table. And this isn't something that the agent could choose to do or not do. It is necessarily invoked by the tool when it runs, just by the way it's constructed. So you can be certain that these events are traceable. And that is the end of my demos. So thank you all very much for your time.